Hi, I'm Eloise Ansell and I'm here today with Advanced BioGeometry Instructor Kris Attard, and we've just finished, like literally about half an hour ago, the first Advanced BioGeometry class in the UK, and it was amazing! We've been having really great feedback from everyone who attended, and it was very successful, fun 6 days. So for those of you who don't know what biogeometry is, Kris, can you give us a little bit of background to it?
Yes, well, after teaching for 6 days, I think I can get an idea or two. Well, biogeometry, the best way to understand basically what it's about is to consider the name, bio and geometry, which means geometry is the study of shape, although nothing to do with the complicated geometry we learned at school, obviously, as you know, and bio means life. So essentially, biogeometry is about studying not just the effects of shape on life, but we work with putting shapes in our life in a way that produces harmony. And biogeometry, our worldview is that we look at everything as qualities. It's like life is like a sea of qualities interacting and interlinked together. And there are specific qualities in this mix which we particularly aim for in biogeometry, because these are qualities which on different levels, ranging from the material, from the physical, all the way through what we call etheric, vitality, emotional levels, mental levels, and even what we can call spiritual levels, they bring about a certain harmony, because they work in line with the laws of nature of harmony. And even one could say the harmonic laws, because that's an adjective in itself, isn't it? So in biogeometry, we learn about these qualities, and more importantly, we learn natural laws which enable us to produce these same qualities that nature itself produces. Let's say when there is what we call a power spot, which is a place of special significance, which the ancients have long known how to use. They would erect their special places on them, their temples, their chapels, whatever, because they have certain qualities which are conducive to life, conducive to harmony.
And we've all been in a church or something where we've gone, wow, this feels...
Absolutely, yes.
Even
irrespective of the culture, the belief system, of the place, it is in a sense the common theme that one would feel in all these places, regardless of whether one is talking about a church, a temple, or anything like that. Yes, and of course, even the ancient societies, as we all know, from places like Stonehenge and the temples of Malta, of course, we have a lot of them in Malta, they have a special feel to them. So we learn to actually recreate those very qualities. But thankfully, thanks to the work of Dr. Ibrahim Karim, the Egyptian architect who is, of course, the founder of this, who has managed to provide certain ways by using certain angles, certain combinations, certain proportions, certain even dimensions, and of course shapes, we can actually recreate those harmonious qualities in any situation, whether it's a space, whether you're doing it to harmonize your room, your bedroom, your living room, your clinic where you work, your office, whether we use it on ourselves. As you know, we have the systems like biosignatures. This is just a card with a few of them, because actually in the course, we get a collection with hundreds of these, each one of which actually resonates to different functions of the human body, to different systems, and when you use them, they can be very powerful. Only today I just received an email from a friend of mine who was telling me what amazing success she had, even working distantly on someone, just using these biosignatures. So whether we're doing it on people or on spaces or animals or whatever, there is huge scope, and that's essentially the study of biogeometry. We learn about it, but most importantly, we learn how to do it. It's extremely practical, as you know.
Yeah, so on the 6-day foundation class where people come to learn about this in the beginning, and then there's the advanced class, you go into design and like about the biosignatures. We cover a lot of ground.
We do. Actually, it might be a good idea, since I'm assuming that anybody seeing this is interested in biogeometry in the first time. First of all, I will repeat, it has nothing to do with geometry we learned at school. So there are no formulas, there are no complicated...
Everybody always worries they're going to come and have to do maths.
I know. That's because of the name geometry. But geometry in its essence means the study of forms, of shapes, of lines, of angles. So that's the concept of geometry that we are using here.
If you can draw a straight line, you can cope with the course.
Exactly. And you can still use a ruler, so you don't have to worry. So essentially, the foundation training is open to everyone, anyone with an interest in learning this subject, this discipline. Essentially, the foundation training is 6 days. Yes, it's a long time, but we do have a lot to cover, and once one does it, one realizes why it's 6 days. It's a complete, as you know, immersive experience where you leave with this knowledge and these amazing tools, these techniques. The first 2 days,
I was just going to say, I think it needs to be 6 days.
Oh yes,
for you to start absorbing what it's about,
yes,
understanding
yes,
the potential, and then the questions start coming.
Yes, it does. There are times when we have taught them separate as the 3 modules, but to be honest, I favor, and I know other instructors do, we favor more an intensive experience. It's immersive. So from the 6 days, the first 2 days are level 1. There's level 1, then the other 2 days are level 2, the other 2 days are level 3.
Yeah.
So level 1 is a general introduction to the concepts of biogeometry. We learn about this concept of harmony, what the qualities, what we call the BG3, which are the 3 harmonizing qualities found in nature anytime there's harmony. We learn about them, we learn their significance, both physical, mental significance in terms of their meaning, and even the metaphysical, because we obviously touch a lot on subjects of metaphysics. We have to, because we are transcending the material here. We're talking about other levels as well. So that's the first 2 levels. You learn the concepts, you learn what it's about and how to use them. Then level 2, level 2 is then about actual harmonizing techniques. There are detailed techniques, detailed in the sense we go into detail to explain how they work. Whether you have a glass of water and you want to learn to harmonize it on an energetic level, or whether you want to balance the energy in a room. And I like this part because people leave with amazing tools like what we call the color placement. We're using a number of small dots.
Yeah.
You know, the
The
little
dots you buy in the supermarket.
Yeah, a little bit like when you punch a piece of paper. Just the careful use. Of course, we have to use certain tools. Like, for example, we use special pendulums. These are not the normal pendulum you would buy in a new age shop or whatever. The shapes, especially designed by Dr. Karim, for instance, the shapes actually determine the qualities we will be aiming for, that we'll be detecting. So using these special tools, for instance, you can determine where to put these dots in a room, literally on a wall, so that you can hardly see them, and yet they balance out the entire energy of the room. Yeah. This is a technique that has been tried and tested. It's been used even in commercial projects, in animal husbandry, in farms, in clinics. I've got people who have done it in offices. It's amazing. It's just one of those things.
That was the technique that got me interested.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Yes, it was. I remember.
We were running another class at an event, and it was like the energy in this place, because me and Chris are quite sensitive, was like up here. It was really bouncy. There'd been lots of children in the room constantly, so it was like really up here, and Chris had me go around the wall with this little red dot, and he went right there, and I put it on the wall, and the whole room just went ah. And I was like, when can we do the red dot course?
I have forgotten about that, yes, the famous,
like the
you were
dot.
Asking for the red dot course, yes.
For years.
And of course, hearing about this, someone who, you know, if you don't appreciate what biogeometry is, it may sound strange, you know, how can I adopt? But in truth, it's a matter of, in sort of the magnetic configuration, the energetic configuration of the room, essentially the special skill of finding the right place, and this is not just a mental skill, it actually has to use the instruments we use in a precise way, will actually produce this harmony where the room gathers a sense of harmony. Actual qualities are created which we can measure.
That sense of peace.
Yes.
Just that feeling of harmony.
Exactly. And the thing is, biogeometry may sound so unusual, and yet it is the language of nature. We saw that video by Dr. Karim. I like the way he put it, that we are all human beings, we all live on Earth, and yet we do not actually speak the language of nature. We don't even know that such a language exists. And what is the expression medium of nature? Shape. Because everything we perceive, all our life, everything, whether it's us, tables, everything, is about shape, is about form. So language speaks nature speaks the language of form. and yet we do not understand it.
Yeah.
And biogeometry begins us on the quest of understanding this language, and that's why we can work with nature. By using certain shapes, certain angles, etc., we create the measures we want.
And the other thing we see in nature is things like the Fibonacci Code.
Yes, like the golden ratio.
And then the numbers come into it as well.
In fact, yes, the golden ratio, which is a part of sacred geometry, which is of course related to biogeometry, except that biogeometry takes that knowledge, adds to it, and makes it a very practical science from start to finish. It's worth mentioning that where does the knowledge for biogeometry comes from? I would say there are three main knowledge bases, if you like, which make up what we call biogeometry today. The first is ancient knowledge. Definitely, this is ancient knowledge straight from the secret temple sciences of Egypt, which were once secret. That they based mainly on harmonics. And of course, there's the work of Pythagoras, who many people don't know even actually had studied for 22 years in the temples of Egypt. So there is some of this knowledge. And then there is also a body of knowledge called Radiesthesia, which comes from Europe, actually around the world. But there was a few very dedicated scientists of Radiesthesia in the early 1900s and late 1800s. Who produced some amazing research and work, especially on what they called shape-caused waves, the concept, which is one we base on, the concept that although we experience this as empty space, it is not empty. It is kind of like a neutral state of energy. And today there are many concepts that tie in with it, zero-point field, and and even some of the ancient mystery schools, like Rosicrucians and all that, they used to say that there's no such thing as empty space. They knew this. So the concept is that any shape in space, whether it's an actual shape, three-dimensional, or whether it's one formed by my hand, or through sound, or even just something drawn, that it actually creates a wave. This is energy, this is physics, right? That we know from physics that even matter is energy. In fact, it was Einstein who at one point on this said, we could say that there's no matter, that matter is just the densest part of the spectrum of energy. So energy is about, we can talk about energy in terms of waves to understand it. And so the scientists postulated the idea that every shape produces a wave in space. And it is a very important science because it can lead us to working some very interesting things. So that's the second body of knowledge. Unfortunately, a lot of their knowledge didn't continue the research because World War II came in and a lot of other reasons. But we're lucky that Dr. Karim was exposed to some of the original works as they left them off, even actually getting legacy of the actual notebooks, the actual tools. And it seems quite amazing like how this information needed to continue, because only recently when we were talking with Dr. Karim some months back, he was saying how he received a second batch, literally, which were hidden, literally one of the descendants of Radiesthesias passed on to him this legacy of amazing, unique notebooks and instruments, and anyhow. So biogeometry essentially continues where Radiesthesia left off. And, for example, anyone in Radiesthesia would be fascinated by these two pendulums of biogeometry. This one, they're unusual pendulums because they actually have a dial. So you can actually turn and indicate the quality that you are testing for. So it's not just a mental asking question. You are indicating what quality you test for by turning this dial. And this one also, which I think is the first of its kind, which detects what we call vertical waveforms, which one could say are even detrimental. So it's good to be, it gives you an awareness that you can find out anything that you have in an environment and work against it to balance it. The third body of knowledge then is Dr. Karim's own research, putting all these together into a very workable science. This is one thing I think he managed quite admirably, in that biogeometry is absolutely not complex, as you saw. We get people from all walks of life, ranging, I've had scientists in my thing, psychologists, therapists, but I've also had normal everyday people, even housewives, and who just feel drawn to it, and everybody can do it. That's the beautiful thing. So we end up with very workable science, isn't it?
It's very usable.
I know you've used it a lot in your own life.
It's very usable.
Yeah.
And Dr. Kareem's book goes into a lot of the background of.
Yes,
Of
in
how it
fact,
comes
to sort of begin closing on this section, it's worth saying that anybody interested in learning about biogeometry first, after listening to this, can either look at the biogeometry website, which is biogeometry.com, or my own website, awarenessworkshops.com, or better still, buy this book. It's available on Amazon.
Below.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon,
Yeah.
and in Dr. Kareem's own words, you will have the concepts of biogeometry, where it came about, the ancient knowledge it's based on, and all the concepts that make up what it is. And then, if one is interested in those concepts in a practical way, then they can attend a course of biogeometry, which basically take place around the world. There are many countries, and if anybody needs a course in a country which is not yet served, just contact us, contact me, and maybe we can arrange that too.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you, Kris.
You're very welcome. Thanks.